Something major just happened that every person, especially Christians, should be paying very close attention to. On November 6, Hamas called for an immediate end of the war after Trump won the election. Trump had promised that within the first 24 hours after being elected as president, he was going to end this war, and he delivered. Palestinians were dismayed by Trump's win, and their leaders urged for peace. As great as this all is, this is not even the important part. Documented from the Temple Institute, another first on the Temple Mount just happened. A Kohen, a modern-day descendant of Aaron, brother of Moshe, that's Moses, wearing completely kosher garments or priestly garments produced by the temple, ascended the Temple Mount last week. Now, why is that important? This whole ceremony is in the book of Numbers. The article goes on to say that the impressive feat was accomplished despite the numerous extra-legal restrictions placed on Jews at the site. You see, this ceremony has not been allowed to be done for a very long time. And on Tuesday, Jews prayed freely on the Temple Mount. And they even blew this ram's horn from the Temple Mount, which is a very sacred thing to do. Now, if you're not familiar, this is the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. This is not the actual temple itself, though. This is just in place of where the temple used to sit. The first temple was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BC, and the second temple was destroyed in 70 AD by the Roman Empire. Stay with me, I'm about to share exactly why this is so important. It's biblical prophecy that the Antichrist is going to build a third temple, and the Jewish nation is dead set on rebuilding that third temple. He will confirm a covenant. Who is he? That's the Antichrist, with many for 1/7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering, and at the temple he will set up an abomination that causes desolation until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. In an upcoming video, I'll get into all the details of what 7 means and the end of sacrifice and offering and so on, but understand that 7 is a representative of a week, but that week actually means years. It's a 7-year period that the Antichrist is going to make a covenant with many, being the nations of the world, and the Antichrist is going to set up the abomination of desolation, the third temple being rebuilt, and that is where he will declare himself as God, and all the nations of the world will worship him. A lot of people forgot that in 2017, Trump went to the Wailing Wall, the western wall that's still remaining from the second temple that was destroyed. This is the wall that's still up. This is also the same wall where rabbis come and pray by putting their hand on that wall. And this is also the same wall where they believe the Messiah will return to fulfill prophecy once that third temple is built. The problem is the Jewish nation missed the Messiah the first time he came. They didn't believe that Jesus was actually God himself. That's why he was crucified. So the person that they're waiting for that's going to rebuild that temple is going to be the Antichrist. And that is happening right now. This is the whole reason why the Holy War is happening. There's prophecy being fulfilled by these red heifers getting ready to be sacrificed. I'll do a whole video on that separate. And people forgot that in 2017, Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. That one act alone moved the needle forward for the Jewish nation to begin rebuilding, or at least getting plans together for that third temple. Now, if I'm studying scripture correctly, the rebuilding of the temple happens during the 7-year tribulation. It's when the Antichrist makes his covenant with all the nations of the world to bring peace. The Jewish nation and Muslims, they want peace in the Middle East. And whoever the Antichrist is going to be in the middle of that 7-year period, 3.5 years in, he is going to break that peace treaty and all hell will break loose. The world is going to experience things that it has never experienced before. Literally hell on earth. So what's my point in saying all this? Is Trump the Antichrist, or is he going to help usher in the Antichrist? I don't believe that he is for a number of reasons, but I do believe that he does not realize what he's doing by bringing all of this together. Now, obviously we all want peace, but it's being funneled in a direction by the enemy himself for the sole purpose to set up his new throne, the third temple that's getting ready to be rebuilt. And what just happened on the 13th a couple weeks ago should have everybody on the edge of their seat, especially for Christians who are paying attention. Don't live in fear. Jesus is coming back. This all should give you urgency to get out there, lift the name of Christ, walk in the Spirit of God, and make sure your house is in order.